Yo, 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 yo. Hello, sweethearts. Welcome back to another episode of Low-Key Chaotic. For the first time ever, you are hearing what my voice sounds like after I've had a weekend of going out and socializing. This used to be much worse. Like, my voice used to literally disappear after I had weekends of just talking too much until I got like vocal lessons and learned how to use my voice in a way that doesn't damage my vocal cords. But I feel like I must have made or like kind of lost some of the progress because I haven't practiced many of my vocal exercises in the recent months. So my voice has started to sound raspy again when I use it too much and I'm talking like loudly in party settings and shit. But it's still never gone to being as bad as it once was. So this is still good for my standards, but I can just like, you can hear this rasp, right? I don't know if this is going to be like nice to listen to for some of you. But I hope it is. I hope my voice is still nice and sexy. I saw a TikTok the other day that was about this girl who was talking about, like if we're being taught as women to play hard to get and not reply right away and not be easily accessible, like just keep your distance, let him work for it, what the fuck does that sound like? What the fuck does that kind of sound like? Sounds like it comes from. And she was like, y'all, it's grape culture. I'm like, what? That shit blew my absolute fucking mind. I have never thought about it that way ever in my fucking life. And this is why I fucking love TikTok, because it puts you on to so many thought processes and opinions that really just get your mind grinding. Oh my God. I feel like I'm still like tired as hell from the weekend, but I'm gonna do my best to pull it together because I really want to talk about this shit with y'all. Especially because I feel like I've built up an audience that loves these topics, like, because, you know, it's just me and the girlies. Like, we're talking about sex and the patriarchy and dating and men, so that whenever I release episodes that aren't about this specific topic, they really are not that listened to in comparison to the other ones, which is so interesting to me that I've now, like, built a community that's leaning in that direction. Love that. I love that for me. I love that for us. But that's why I really want to, you know, give y'all another episode that kind of is in that realm of topics and not all of the other shit that no one wants to fucking hear. So let's get into it. People say that women are easy when we're open about desire, as if that's some sort of an insult almost. Because what's the opposite of easy? It's chase culture, that whole fucking game of playing hard to get. And that game often rewards things like mixed signals and blurred boundaries. I mean, once, like, I remember I was seeing this guy whom I had slept with once, and then literally he wanted to go for round 2, and I just spotted that my pants are dirty as fuck. How the fuck did that happen? What the fuck? What? That's crazy. Anyways, he wanted to go for round 2 and I literally started crying because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel comfortable enough to tell him I don't want to do this anymore. So I let him finish. Then he wanted to go again. I couldn't like keep it in anymore. I started crying because I was going through my breakup with my abusive ex and this was like my first time sleeping with someone that wasn't my ex, and it just like it just reminded me of like how I didn't want to be with anyone but him, and like I just felt so uncomfortable and so vulnerable with a person that I didn't want to be comfortable and vulnerable with. So I started bawling my eyes out, and then after, like, he was really like, you know, understanding and caring and whatever. And then after that, I tried to have a friendship with him because I didn't want to just leave it at that. Like, I liked him as a person, but I wanted to try and be friends instead of letting it like fizzle out and just like never talking again and then feeling weird and awkward and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, then we hang out again and he is like making moves and I keep saying no and no and no and no and no. And then I literally, like, he doesn't stop, he continues, and I literally have to become more assertive and more strict with me saying no, for him to understand that I'm being for real. And then he literally says to me, oh, I thought you're just like saying no to like tease me. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? What the fuck? And that's what I find so crazy, that so many men like think that no might not really mean no, but that it's more of like a signal for them to just try harder. And that kind of thinking is like, it can create such a dangerous confusion. And I feel like, is that why sex workers get so looked down upon? Because they're direct about what they want and what they offer and don't play this game? Why is being hard to get seen as more respectable than being honest about wanting connection or sex? Why do we glorify withholding desire? And honestly, what's wrong with wanting to sleep with people? Like, why does society treat our desire like it's shameful? Like, shouldn't desire just be desire? Why does it get so twisted when it's ours? I don't know. And that's what we're discussing today. I mean, from a young age, we grow up, people tell us you need to be quiet and pretty and sweet, and most of all, be wanted. Think about all the fucking fairy tales, like all the Disney shit, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, all the princesses always waiting to be rescued or chosen by their Prince Charming. And there's so many studies, and I don't even know if you need studies to prove this, because we all know it from firsthand experience. Whatever you consume as a child and whatever gets told to you as the norm is just what you grow up believing is how it's meant to be. Like, the media plays a massive role with like how traditional gender roles shapes how kids like learn to think about men and women in relationships. And growing up, I mean, like our whole lives, we are always told to not be too forward, to play it cool, don't text them back too fast, like all the time. And I hate these games, these fucking don't text them back too fast bullshit of shit games. But sometimes you feel like you got to play the game in order to not freak them out or scare them off, and it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, boys always get the opposite message: just ask her out. If you don't try, you'll never know. Like, boys have always been socialized to be assertive and direct, and girls to be passive and nurturing. So we learn that our power is in being wanted and not in wanting. And that's the foundation of chase culture. Men get rewarded for chasing. Women get rewarded for being hard to get. And I feel like I just touched on when I started this episode, that's why sex workers get so much stigma. Like, they openly express and offer desire on their own terms, breaking the chase culture script. And that threatens this traditional power dynamic where men chase and women withhold. And we grow up in a culture that's opposite. We grow up in a culture actually that's obsessed with sex. Absolutely, everyone loves sex, or not everyone, but majority of the world loves sex, obsessed with sex. Everything is about sex, but also so uncomfortable with women owning their sexuality openly. So that tension shows up in all kinds of ways. Like, take me for example. When a guy asks me, "What do you want in bed?" I always freeze, because even though on the surface it sounds so simple, it taps into all the deep conditioning about wanting, about shame, about power. Not because I don't know what I want in bed, but because it reminds me of how comfortably he's been raised to want and how I've been taught to hesitate and hold back. And I get uncomfortable with his directness asking me that, because it just highlights this power imbalance. He feels so entitled to ask. I feel uncertain about answering. I also would just love for once if men could just do the intuitive work of being present and observing and giving enough fucks to find out what somebody likes without just the laziness of asking a fucking question. You know what I mean? Like, can you just be intuitive for once in your goddamn life? I think that's also a part that like rubs me the wrong way. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like men are so obviously so spoiled when it comes to so many things in this world, but especially with sex, everything is centered around them and making them come and them having the pleasure. Like most men that I know, most men that I've slept with do not know how to make a woman feel good. All they care about is literally having an orgasm themselves, and that's it. And that's it. So I think it just triggers that hatred towards me that I already have, where I'm like, men are so fucking lazy already when it comes to real connection and caring about women. So when they ask me that question, I'm like, bro, like, seriously? Really? Really? But anyways, just to also like sprinkle in a little paradox, technically women do choose. Like a lot of men would obviously say yes to anyone who shows them attention. So most men would be with anyone who shows them affection. So we're the ones who say yes or no, like we're the gatekeepers. But even when we're choosing, we're not really free because we're choosing based on how we think will be perceived. Does that make sense? Like, will he still like me if I say this? Am I too much? Too needy, too opinionated? So yeah, I'm choosing, but I'm also performing at the same time. I'm trying to be palatable enough to be chosen back. Like that's not power. That's survival, that's performance, that's patriarchy, that's conditioning. Boys have always been raised to want and to ask. Girls have always been raised to anticipate, to wait, and to shrink. So in intimate moments, the imbalance is so fucking obvious. One person is fluent in desire, the other is fluent in pleasing. And honestly, this whole dance, hiding what we want, playing the hard to get game, it's just so exhausting because it's mentally so fucking heavy. Like imagine just constantly having to measure every word, every look, every text, wondering, am I coming on too strong? Will this push him away? How much of myself can I really show without being labeled too much? That kind of constant self-monitoring wears down your confidence over time. You start disconnecting from your own body and feelings because you're so busy managing how others might react. And it's not just about dating, to be honest. It leaks into everything from friendships to work to even how we relate to ourselves. Like you might catch yourself silencing parts of who you are just to avoid conflict or judgment. And I think we also need to recognize that this isn't the same for everyone. Like take women of color, for example. Cultural stereotypes, they might add extra pressure or different rules around how they express desire. Queer and trans women face their own unique challenges, so often, dealing with layers of misunderstanding or erasure. So when we talk about women so broadly, it's important to remember desire policing isn't one size fits all. Like some groups face way harsher judgment or have fewer like safe spaces to explore their desires openly. So this adds like a lot of complexity, and it shows how power, culture, and identity all shape these experiences. So what now? Like genuinely, what now? I think the most radical thing that we can do is start practicing real honesty, not just surface level honesty, but this deep, vulnerable honesty about what we want, what we need, what we don't want, because reclaiming our desire is reclaiming our power. And if a person can't handle that honesty, they were never safe to begin with, because like we as women collectively deserve to want, not just to be wanted. Like I am sick and tired of literally overthinking absolutely everything just because I was taught to chase a man's approval. Sick and tired of it. Sick and fucking tired of it. And I don't know if it's even possible to uncondition such deep conditioning, but I think we at least gotta try because we owe that to ourselves. We really do, but it's so hard. I know it's hard. I mean, it's like the number one thing I get messages about every day. Zoe, should I said that to him? Should I have said that to him? Should I have replied to him that fast? Should I wear this? Does this look good? What if he thinks this when he looks at my story? Like, bro, it's crazy. It's actually sad. But I believe in us. And I think this is like, I'm going to try to test out episodes that are like 15 to 20 minutes long instead of 30 minutes to an hour. Let's see if those perform differently. I love you guys. You know where to find me. Lowkey Chaotic Podcast at everywhere.com. See you next week.